Thank you. Welcome to our session today. I'm happy to hear and I'm happy to see a large number of you people joining. Thank you. I've seen you guys come in. God bless you people. And I think this is a meeting scheduled for you all people, and you should attend it, because when you are free, the best thing we can do is to serve God, to have free time. It's my pleasure. Now, for the interest of time, allow me today introduce to you our topic, or our area of interest, whereby we are going to discuss a few elements. It's all about God's presence. Now, our topic today is all about God's presence. Here you are, there you are. I know many times you felt God's presence, or many times you say, or when you go to church, you claim and say, today I felt God's presence. Now, God's presence is manifested through various strategies or through various occasions that affirms your mind that God's presence truly has been with you. Therefore, allow me pray. Our kind Master, thank you for the gift of life given unto us, Father. Since we are young generation up to this time, Father, Lord, we thank you for you are worthy. We honor you, Father. We give you reverence, for you are mighty, Lord of glory. For you stay the heavens, Father. We thank you. See now this time we are going to have a discussion. Lord, it's all about your presence upon our lives, Father. May you help us, give us a deep understanding, the insight of your word, so that, Father, we are there to aid by your favor and by your mercies. In Jesus' name I pray, believing in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Amen. And therefore, now God's presence being in a Christian life is our discussion today for those joining. And I wish to inform you that when we feel God's presence, we feel confident and having that faith. Now, this faith, when we believe in God, we have to feel that we have to have that confidence, and therefore having gained that confidence, we can also be in a position of saying that God's presence is upon our lives. Now, when we read from the book of Romans chapter 10 verse 17, we note an information and message here is sent that says, consequently faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word about Christ. Now, when we read the message, we hear the word, and this word we hear to Christ. Therefore, through in such a way, therefore we can be in a position of saying that God's presence is being or is manifested to our lives in our Christian way of life. And having that point, we can go to point number 2, whereby we are told God's presence can be felt upon our lives through wisdom. Now, that when we pray God to give us wisdom, and before we go that far, I will wish to inform you that the term wisdom is the kind of knowledge that a person gains that is naturally, not necessarily that a person maybe pursues the studies or undergo a certain field of training for him or her to sustain that knowledge, that wisdom. The wisdom itself comes from God. Now, when we pray for wisdom, or when we have that wisdom, we feel God's presence upon our lives and in our every daily basis. Therefore, when we read from the book of Proverbs chapter 1 chapter 2 verse 1 to 6, the message there the Bible tells us is that, my son, you see now it's God speaking, God himself speaking, calling you my son. If you are to accept my words and store up my commands within you. You see, if you go and read onwards, my area of interest here is my son. And you see this love that God has said unto us. God calls you my son, my daughter. You see, now that wisdom, let's have that wisdom now. Now, if we accept it, and we are told that through that wisdom, all other things come freely. The knowledge and understanding that you seek comes freely because you have that wisdom. And I hope you are getting. Whenever you feel like there is a question, you can seek for clarification. Thank you. Yeah. it's okay now. Then and at times the third aspect is all about peace. Now from the philosophical point of view, we are told that peace, or actually they do say that there is no way to peace, but peace is the only way. I think you are getting that point from your own way of understanding. And here now, in this case, if we go in the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 3, whereby the Bible tells us that you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. Now, when you have that peace of mind, the innermost peace of you, the innermost peace that you feel in your heart, is when you stand a position of saying that God's presence is upon me, God's presence is upon my ways, God's presence is upon my mind. And that aspect is all about joy. Joy is a way in which at times you find yourself in rejoice, you are happy, you feel like your mind is well settled, you are okay, no disturbances or distractors from another, from within the environment or from the external environment. Now, this is when you say that God's presence is upon me. God's presence is now upon me as the chosen disciple of Jesus Christ. And actually we see a follower. Yeah, we are followers of Christ Jesus. And therefore, in this case, we read from that verse, we are told that when we believe in this, or when we have joy, you will show me the way of life. It's when we have that joy, God will show us the way of life, the way in which we should conduct ourselves, the way in which we should carry ourselves out, so that to show, as a show or an indicator that God's presence is upon our lives. Then the other aspect in this case that I wish us to have a look at is from the book of Galatians 5 verse 16. Now in this area we are told that not yielding to the flesh. You see, in the Bible, when we are not yielding to the flesh, it means that the flesh at times is all about this human body. This part I'm touching here, you see it. Now the flesh is so weak, but there is power in spirit. Now the only way we can feel God's presence upon our lives is when we yield. We yield not to the flesh. Actually, when we should control ourselves. We should control our bodies, because this is the holy temple of God. And therefore, when we do it, there is a possibility to say that and now the presence of God is upon our lives, is upon our way, is upon whenever we go, whatever we do. The presence of God being upon us when we make the right decisions concerning these bodies, to take good care of this temple, because in return the owner wants it back for the use. Therefore, my fellow brethren, let's try not to yield to the flesh, because the flesh demands a lot and the flesh is never satisfied. And through that, let's say that God is worthy. God's presence is upon us by not adhering or by not yielding to the flesh. And therefore, that's also another strategy in which we feel God's presence being manifested upon our lives. And then point number 6, we say that when the presence of God is upon us, we feel spiritual strength and encouragement. When God's presence is upon us, there is that spiritual growth, spiritual strength. You feel like you should go ahead serving God. You should go ahead doing so many things. You should be ready to take even risks for the purpose of serving a living God. And in such a way, together with that now encouragement, you feel you are encouraged. We say God's presence is now upon me. God's presence is now upon you people listening today. God's presence is upon we as humans. God's presence is upon us. Now that's when you go, our reference point is when you go and read from the book of Galatians, not Galatians, from the book of Psalms 105 verse 4. That's where we have to get that information. Then the message there is said that we should now have that spiritual strength and encouragement. Now in such a way we feel God's presence upon our lives. Then the other aspect in this case is we have the divine rest. That's our point number 8. Now number 7. Now the divine rest, that's when we go to our reference point. It's from the book of Psalms number 37 verse 7, whereby we are told, be still in the presence of the Lord and wait patiently for him to act. Be still in the presence of God and wait him to act. Do not act. Get me right. Do not act. When you are in the presence of God, your heart finds a place of solace, a place to rest. That's called the divine rest, whereby your heart gets restored to overcome every human nature. And therefore, that's when we say that God's presence is now upon us. God's presence is now manifested upon our lives, and that's now why a way in which we stand still. Let's stand still, being patient, waiting